I'm going to give you my 5 things I want to see the Chicago Bears do at OTAs and mini camp, and it starts right now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. First things first, as always, drop a bear down in the comments right now and let us know your what you want to see from the Chicago Bears at minicamp this season, at OTAs this season. What do you want to hear about coming out of OTAs and minicamp? And make sure that you're subscribed here to the Windy City Breeze, because I think we're one of like 2 or 3 channels. I think only 2 channels that actually goes to minicamp, goes to OTAs. And of course, follow us over on ESPN as well. I think it's us and CHGO. I think we're the only 2 channels on YouTube doing this that actually go to OTAs and get to lay eyes on what we see. But I say all that to say OTAs and minicamp is coming up this week. This week it's going to be from Monday, May 20th through the 22nd will be the first OTA practice. And then going into next week, May 27th through May 30th will be the second OTA practice. Then in the middle of that, and some teams are doing this, which is I think it's interesting because usually you get everybody back for that third OTA practice, or sometimes they'll even cancel that third OTA practice. But right in the middle of it, they're doing mandatory mini camp, where June 3rd through the 5th is where mandatory mini camp will fall. And then June 9th through the 11th will be that OTA practice number 3. And they probably will not cancel this practice because Ben Johnson's first practice, he's going to want to get as many people in here together, continuing to work on the system, continuing to work on the scheme. So I would assume that third practice is going to remain there, but that is not yet listed on the schedule that we get for the media advisory. But the 5 things I want to see the Chicago Bears show at OTAs, at mandatory minicamp, and I think it starts off obviously here. Number 1, Ben Johnson. How is Ben Johnson and his coaching staff running the practices? And what I mean by that is, how are you running the practices with the veteran players in the building? We got to see how they ran practice for rookie minicamp, and a lot of people saw the Eric Bieniemy clip and had mixed feelings on it. I think that, it's just who Eric Bieniemy is. I'm not surprised by that from the running back room at all. But how does that aggressive coaching style work when the veterans are actually in the building? And it's not just an Eric Bieniemy thing, right? I told you guys, Dan Rashar, a lot of the guys, Richard Smith, they were not letting these young players just move past the mistake and go on to the next drill because we got a time frame that we got to keep. No, they were about getting the job done right and taking advantage of the day that you had those players there. Will that aggressive style of coaching work when the veterans are in the building, when it's not the rookies, when it's not the young guys who are trying to make a team and are willing to do just about anything that you tell them to help them make that team? How is that going to work, especially after the cry for accountability that we saw from so many players on this team last season? What happens when coaches are actually trying to hold you accountable? It's easy to say. It's a lot easier when somebody calls you out, right, and says, hey, you're doing this wrong. I know you're good at this and you're comfortable with this and this is how you like to do it, but you're doing this wrong. And so we need to change that up. To me, I think that's going to be interesting to see how the Bears veterans handle that. And is that going to be an issue, or is it going to be smooth sailing where guys are just, it's a breath of fresh air like they have talked about? You heard Tyson Bagent talking about the accountability factor and saying it is a breath of fresh air, right? We've heard multiple players come out since then and just saying it's different in the building and it's not going to be the same. We're okay with the mistakes that we were making on the field last season. I love that. I love the fact that we're hearing that. We just heard that from Kyler Gordon just about as well. I guess we didn't hear it per se. It kind of was one of those, just that look of like, I bet you thought this was going to be the same thing as last year, huh? It was one of those. It was one of those. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say anything, but It's going to be different. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Do you think that aggressive style of coaching will work for the Chicago Bears? Do you think that in your face, you know, to me, I just call it coaching. In your face coaching, I guess. You're not being passive. It's not about how you're doing your job on your own. It's about your coach making sure the job gets done. That's how I viewpoint it. Number 2 for me on the list is, how are Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams working together? And is Caleb Williams truly understanding the playbook? Now, this is very early on. This is not going to be like the most egregious or aggressive of concepts, right? It's not like he's going to be out there trying to figure out every single piece of this playbook. But remember last season, Caleb was being praised for his knowledge, for how deeply he was diving into the playbook, for how much he knew coming into rookie minicamp. And when he got to minicamp, how he was still ahead of schedule. When he was going through OTAs, how he was still ahead of schedule. I thought that was very interesting, looking at how the season plays out. What is going to be the case with Caleb Williams here? It does not seem like Ben Johnson is the kind of guy to blow smoke up your skirt and sit there and tell you, oh, you know, yeah, he's ahead of schedule, but, you know, really he's struggling with the playbook. I think Ben Johnson has proven to be extremely honest here early on. And so it'll be very interesting to see kind of where Caleb Williams is with some of those early concepts that are going to be in the playbook. And I'll even say this as well, right? When you talk about the team as a whole, is everybody on the same page? Are the players going out there and they're on the same page? That was one of the massive issues that the Bears had last season. You know, DJ Moore didn't know that he needed to run a fade here when Caleb Williams is thinking, I got to throw the fade here, right? They're not on the same page. Odunze is cutting the route off short when Caleb is thinking he needs to keep going downfield. They're not on the same page. Like, even that, and I get it, it's early, and there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be times where you're not on the same page, but is that a problem that is happening too often? Because those were things that we were seeing during camp last season, and it just kept being, you know, yeah, we're still working on it. We're working through new concepts. We're figuring things out. We're going to be fine. We're still working on it. We're going through new stuff. We're going to be fine. We're going to figure it out. We're going to be fine. You never figured it out. Like, we were in week 16, and I was like, Caleb and Rome are not on the same page. That's a problem. Caleb's overthrowing Rome on this play. Rome's not running the right route on this play. Whoever's fault it is, we're in week 16. This shouldn't still be an issue. Are we starting off OTAs and minicamp kind of on a better foot? And again, this is my evaluation for all of OTAs and minicamp included. This is not day one. Are you guys all locked in? There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be misses. So not surprised by that at all. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Another thing I do want to see is how Caleb Williams is adjusting to the new foot placement. Don't know if you guys saw this picture of Caleb Williams, kind of a blurry picture that was going around Twitter of Caleb Williams' foot placement. And, you know, they've changed it. He's got that left foot in front of the right foot for the quick pass action. Remember, this is something that they did with Justin Fields when Luke Getsy became the OC, and it ended up slowing down his footwork tremendously over that process. Is this something that is going to benefit or be a detriment to Caleb Williams? But what I will say is this, Caleb Williams, I think, has the footwork, has the foot placement, has the ability to actually go out there and maintain that foot speed in his drop back. I think he has a better drop back than what we saw from Justin Fields. And to me, I think that this is going to be more beneficial to him. And the quick game is all what Ben Johnson is looking for. The one thing we talked about today on the Chicago Bears podcast was the over-under odds and how Vegas feels like Caleb is going to have a pretty good season. A lot of that comes from just getting the football out quickly. A lot of that comes from, you know, seeing DJ Moore now, what it would have been Amon-Ra in that previous system in the slot, or seeing Luther Burden or Olamide Zaccheaus or Rome Odunze. All 4 players can operate in the slot there. Seeing them open, seeing the pass, making the pass, quick decision making. You know, is that quick decision making going to be something that is maintained throughout all of OTAs and minicamp? And is the offense going to win some of these days with Caleb Williams having that? I think that this is not going to be a problem for Caleb. In fact, I think it's something Caleb probably is begging to do here with the foot forward, because Caleb's favorite quarterback, of course, is Aaron Rodgers. And this is the style that Aaron Rodgers had with his drop back. Remember, that was the really big thing around that conversation. So we'll see what ends up happening if this does work out for Caleb Williams much better than Justin Fields. I do think that it will. I think that Caleb is just a better quarterback right now as far as passing the football. And so this fits more of a passing style quarterback, and it's going to be more beneficial for the Chicago Bears in the long run here, especially especially with getting that quick offense out. Again, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Make sure that you guys are subscribing to the page. Again, 79% of you. 79%, which is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. 79% of you watching the content, not subscribed to the page. The reason why this is a good thing is because last month we saw a ton of growth. Whoa, Pat, calm down there. Last month we saw a ton of growth going through rookie minicamp, and all of the videos that we were putting out for minicamp and stuff like that. We saw a ton of new subscribers come in. So there's a ton of people watching the content, but maybe you guys just haven't hit that subscribe button. So we appreciate you for rocking with us as always. Hit that subscribe button, man. Appreciate y'all for staying tapped in with us. Let's get to the last couple here that I really want to see from OTAs and minicamp. Who's getting the lion's share of the carries by the end of minicamp? And what I mean by that is when you look at this running back room now, Ben Johnson's going to tell you the entire time, nobody is winning jobs at minicamp. Nobody is winning jobs at OTA. But you know what you can do? And we have seen this time and time again. You can absolutely lose a job at OTAs at minicamp. You could absolutely not be the person going into training camp getting the lion's share of the carries. You can absolutely be the person going into training camp being the one that is the odd man out. And again, look, you guys want to bury your head in the sand, you Swifties out there, shout out to you. It's not beef with DeAndre Swift. It's just the facts of the situation. The facts of the situation are the Chicago Bears new head coach basically buried DeAndre Swift in that final season when he was out there in Detroit. And he's not somebody that Ben Johnson really wanted to go out there and utilize in that last season. Oh, by the way, heading into this season, we've seen a report just about every other day, and you can believe it or not, that they tried to go out there and find a new running back to be the main back for this team. Now you end up with Kyle Monangai, who I think is still going to be ridiculously good and is going to be a major part of this offense this season. Yes, I keep saying that as a 7th round pick. I do believe he's going to be a big part of the season. We act like Kyle Monangai as a 7th round pick from like Nowheresville State. Like he was at a Big Ten school and he was the leading rusher in the Big Ten. Like, I don't even get why this is a tough concept for people to get. But I say all that to say, who's going to be getting the lion's share of those carries by the time we get to the end of OTAs, by the time we get to the end of minicamp? Because I think that's going to be interesting heading into training camp to see who really does have the favor of Ben Johnson and his coaching staff in this situation, who fits this offense most, and I think this could be a big situation in all of this as well. Are you going out there and trying to get Nick Chubb? Are you going out there and trying to get J.K. Dobbins? Those are 2 guys still on the market. Are you coming out of OTAs and minicamp and going, we don't have enough at that running back position. We need to add somebody. We need to find a way to make a trade. We need to do something here that is going to be a benefit to us in that running back room, because what we have in the room is not enough. And that could be the situation that plays out as well. I'm going to be very focused in on that storyline to see kind of where the running back room does go. Now, again, this is going to be mostly 7-on-7. This is going to be receiving. You're not going to be running a ton of full team drills, right? You're going to be working, you're putting the work in a little bit slower before, just to get everybody up to speed here. So I'm not expecting anything where it's like these guys are just having horrible days and you lose your job, but you never know. And so it'll be interesting to see. And then the final thing that I really do want to see, and I think this could be the big thing, because we did know this by the end of OTAs last year. We did know this by the end of minicamp last year. Who are the vocal leaders on this team with the new veterans added? Because last season in OTAs, last season in minicamp, I could tell you pretty clearly that it was DeMarcus Walker on one side of the football, and Tevin Jenkins told us pretty clearly, and it seemed to play out that way with the offensive line that we saw in the field last season as well. Ryan Bates was the other guy in the offensive line room. By the way, Ryan Bates, when he was the vocal leader on the team, he was banged up and couldn't even really get out there for most of OTAs and minicamp last season. So who are the vocal leaders on this team? Who is going to be setting themselves apart as the guys that are saying, hey, that's not acceptable. We got to run that again. Hey, coach, let's do this over. I really want to see who that is going to end up being and who's going to be somebody that is right for that role. I think the obvious one here is Grady Jarrett, right? You heard him talk at the press conference. You knew what he was gonna that he was gonna come out with a ton of energy, that he was gonna come out with a ton of feeling. I love it. I love every bit of it. I would expect him to be that guy on the defensive end, which is fine because I feel like Montez Sweat is more of a let my actions do the talking. I feel like Jalen Johnson, while he is the worker, he is the leader, right? He's a guy who's last man on the field, always working with the young guys, always trying to do his best to improve his game. I don't know if he's as much of a vocal leader at times until you need him to be a vocal leader when, like we saw in the locker room last year, when it was like, all right, bro, like all this rah-rah stuff that you try to pitch to us, that don't mean anything anymore because we keep losing these games. This means nothing. So I think that's going to be very, very interesting to see on the defensive side. And of course, on the offensive side, right? DJ Moore, very similar to Jalen Johnson in that way, lead by example, goes out there, hardest worker, number one guy on the field, not last guy to leave the field. But do you have somebody who's going to be a little bit more vocal? Is that going to be Caleb? That should be Caleb, by the way. Does Caleb feel comfortable enough in this system in year two? Because it feels like there were so many moments last season where you thought Caleb Williams was going to speak up or Caleb Williams was going to make a decision, but he would talk after and you would go, okay, he's got this like respect for the position of the head coach that I'm not going to go over my head coach's head. I'm going to let my head coach make the decisions and I'm not going to have much of a say on this. We know that's not how Ben Johnson wants to operate with Caleb Williams. We know that's not how Ben Johnson wants to have Caleb Williams in the system. He wants to have him as a leader. He wants to have him as somebody you can trust. He wants to have him as somebody who's speaking up when the team needs to get it together. And so I think that you need to see Caleb Williams kind of taking the reins and saying, hey, this is my team. This is my offense. Let's go out here and figure out how we're going to go out and win games on a consistent basis, because what we did last year is completely unacceptable. By the way, there's someone to watch tape with me this season. But hey, man, let me know how you guys feel down in the comments below. Those are my 5 things that I want to see the Chicago Bears do at OTAs, or at least show at OTAs and minicamp. Let me know your things that you want to see this Bears team accomplish at OTAs and minicamp this season. I'll be down in the comments talking with you guys as well. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.